Hello and welcome to the next installment of my ArchiCAD classes. As promised today, what we're going to be doing is going through, not ScreenFlow, going through the element attributes and specifically the fills, surfaces, building materials and composites. So we see most of this actually in the form of composites. So for example, if we go and actually have a look at these walls, you can see in here we've got a whole bunch of options in here, right? And these are a combination of surfaces, okay, or materials. Okay, so they've got like a rendering properties, and they've also got a fill type, so you can actually have like hatching in it, and a color that appears in 3D. Okay, so that's what's on the right hand side, and it also has a thing called priority. So that's actually this number over here, and what the priority does, so if we just do this by examples, probably the easiest. So let's say we're going to draw a wall. Yeah, let's go with plaster gypsum. So I'm just going to put a wall like that. Remember, we can change these settings from here as well, and we're going to grab a concrete wall as well. Now notice the concrete has 510. And will I ever find the gypsum one again? Here we go, plaster is 210. Okay, so what that means is that this concrete wall should drill a hole, if you like, through the gypsum. Okay, so already we notice that it's overriding it here, and if we have a look in the 3D view, in fact I'm just going to select both of these, and we'll go function F4, okay, or F5 on the PC. Okay, and you can see that the concrete wall is going through the gypsum wall. In fact, you watch, if we go and grab the bottom of this, let's pull this up a little bit just to, if I view just this, I'm just going to select it and go for F4, you can see there is a gap cut. So it's like as if it's done a solid element operation or a Boolean operation, depending on what terminology you're used to. It's like it's automatically done it. Okay, and if we were to calculate volumes, it would take this into account. So this is quite important, of course, because if you've got like lots of beams, you're going to have one major beam and then other smaller beams connecting to it. You don't want the major beam cutting holes in it instead of the smaller beams. So you'll see this priority in a few different places. Let's just pop back into here, and what we're going to do now is have a look at creating our own. So first of all, these kind of feed into each other, okay? So if we look at the composites, you notice that it's made up of lines, so we can actually define our own lines as well, so I suppose I should add that to the list of things we'll have a quick look at. And then it's got these materials here, so it says timber floor, so these are composite materials. So if we go into here and we go to composites, if we go into here, sorry, it's called materials, building materials. You'll see here that we can actually see how these are all created. So let's make our, we'll make our own shortly, because I'm going to make my own fill first. And you can see here's those priorities. Okay, so we could have could actually just duplicate this concrete and call it high priority concrete. Okay, and it's going to duplicate concrete. Okay, so here's high, and we can give it a higher priority. You don't want to go all the way to the top, because then ultimately what happens is you eventually need to have something that's even a higher priority, and you've already reached your maximum. So just as long as it's higher than what it is that you're trying to cut through is always a good idea. I'm going to cancel that because I don't actually want that one. Alright, so yeah, there's the lines just while we're here, so you can actually create your own line styles, and there's all sorts of options. So we can do dashed lines, and we can say like, so this is like 5 mil and then a gap of 5 mil, so we could go, well actually I want 2 mil, cool, and 5 mil, and somehow we can get a new dash in here. There we go. Okay, so we can go 2 mil, 2 mil, 5 mil, 2 mil. Cool, so now we've got dash dash gap. So that's 2 mil, 2 mil, 2 mil, 5 mil. Okay, I'm just going to cancel that as well. Then we've also got we've got our pens and colours. I'm not really going to go there. This is actually kind of stems back to the old days of pen plotters, and so pen 1 would be loaded into the plotter, and that pen 1 had a pen weight of 0.13, so it's the size of the nib, and obviously a colour. And so yeah, you could actually like draw with physical pens. So you'll notice that CAD software, most CAD software, have held on to this way of working. So they have like pen sets, which is pretty cool because you can swap out the pen sets and the colours will change. These would be kind of fun actually. I'm probably showing my age now, but what would happen if you had lots of overlapping lines? Eventually your pen plotter would like cut a hole through your page, and you go to take your page off the plotter, and a shape would fall out. Yeah, so it's always kind of funny. Well, not really actually. So anyway, we've got fills and surfaces. So let's have a look at surfaces first, because that's a lot more fun. Okay, so let's say I want to make my own orange concrete. Okay, so what I can do is go to concrete. Okay, so here's concrete. That all looks cool. Let's duplicate it. So we're going to go new. We're going to new. It's going to duplicate concrete. Cool. And we're going to call it orange concrete. Cool. And I'm just going to delete that off the end. I sometimes like to put like a Z on the end so that I know that there's one that I created. So we're going to duplicate that. I'm going to go OK. And I'm just going to change the surface color in here to be an orange color. Cool. And so that's the surface color. How can we get, I think because it's using an image texture, but we should be able to override that. Still not getting that orange color. Oh, hang on, how about we? Mission. No. We should be able to get this to turn orange. Let's see, hang on, actually. Also, let's go to the cine render one, because this is when we go and do the proper render, this is how it's going to come out. And here's our color. So here's the color here. So let's go and push that into the orange spectrum. Got a little bit of an orange color there, but it's really not coming through, is it? Let's have a look here. We can expand on this. There's a few layers in here. Layer of brick color. Here we go. There we go, now we're getting to it. And let's do this one as a really dark orange. Okay, cool. So we've got kind of this orangey coloured concrete now. I'm still a little bit disappointed that the basic engine, which is what we actually see in the 3D view, isn't really changing. You can kind of see, so if I go transmission, so I was trying to make glass, so you can kind of make like a frosted glass or something like that for the transparency. We've got, how reflective it is. Okay. How diffuse. How shiny it is, if it's really polished concrete or not. It's a bit more of a matte finish. If it glows, so that's a sort of specular highlight, which is this area. You can kind of see that that's where that orange light's coming from. See, no orange highlight. The specular glow now has a little bit of an orange highlight to it. So that'd probably be more important if it was like, I don't know, silk or something like that. I think this texture here, which, if we actually went shopping, we could create our own texture, import it into our library. I'm not going to go there at the moment, but we could import our own orange sort of shaded concrete. The OpenGL one is what we see in the 3D view. So again, looking a little bit disappointing, isn't it? Cool, but it will render really nicely. So it will render like an orange concrete, which is all we really care about. Okay, so we've made our own material. Let's see, what else have we got in here? So the fills. So here are all our fills, and you'll notice some of these are very simple fills. So we have, in fact, if I go new, you'll see we've got solid fills, symbol fills, and image fills. So I'm going to do a symbol fill, and I'm actually going to create my own. So first of all, let's just have a look at one. So here's concrete block. Okay. So you notice it's got this is only for the screen, so it's kind of a pixelated, raster version of this, and we can actually edit this just by adding extra points. It's pixel art. Okay, but to create this one here, you'll notice that you can't actually change anything in here. So how do you create your own textures? Well, let's have a look here. So first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to draw it into this 2 meter block here. Okay. And let's say I want to make one that's a little bit sort of concrete-like. So first of all, what I want to do is I'm just going to actually draw a box, and I'm going to snap it to my grid. So I've got this nice sort of 2 meter box. So this is where I'm going to draw my fill. Okay, and I'm actually going to draw a whole bunch of circles into here, and I'm going to give you a couple tips along the way. So I'm just going to turn my snap grid off now. So if I go and grab a circle like this, for example, actually I'm going to do one. I'm going to do one right that goes over the edge. Okay, because we're also going to see something else. Now the trick is, right, if I go and repeat a fill, if I just go and put it all totally inside this box, it's going to look like the same pattern repeated over and over and over. However, if I grab this and I'm going to actually split it across this line, I'm going to keep this side selected, and then I'm going to move this half, oops, using this up, straight up, and we're going to try. Now, see, notice how I can't quite get the point that I want, right? I can if I go from here though. Cool, and I'm going to go straight up, and I'm going to snap to that edge. So that means if this repeats, this line here will match up with this. If I go and copy this whole square and put it over here, that circle would now be complete. Okay, and we can do that even across an edge. You watch this. So if we go like this, for example, right? I want to get it so that's, yeah. In fact, look, let's get it so it touches that one, right? Okay, so what I have to do is I'm going to have to split this up quite a lot. So this circle, right? If it was to repeat, this half has to be over here. Okay, so let's X that one. I'm going to X that one on this line. Oops, select that. Get the X on this line, keep this side selected. Cool. And now I'm going to move this. Okay, remember, make sure it's on the move. Hold down the shift. Click. Awesome. Okay, and now this one and this one need to be split across this line. Keep this side selected. Okay, and we're going to move this all the way up, and we're going to snap it onto there. Cool. So that will now actually repeat really nicely. I might just move this to there. Cool. Alright, and so now I'm just going to fill the rest of this. Maybe I'll do it one more time just so we get a nice overlap on the edges here. Okay. I could do a bunch at the same time actually. Actually, let's just get one. Let's just draw a different type of circle now that we've got a few points. So I want to have a circle that touches that point, and touches that point. Cool, and I'm going to bring that back down to there. Select that circle, and I'm going to select the circle at the same time. And I'm going to X those ones across this line. Keep that side selected, move it over to here, hold down the shift key. Awesome, and that conveniently fitted in quite nicely, didn't it? Alright, and so now let's just go and fill the rest of this up with circles. Okay, so I'm just going to go circle, circle, and just make a nice big circle like that. Come back to the beginning. Cool. Circle. I'm saying circle, circle, circle. Point, point, point. Cool. Maybe one that goes from here to here to here. Oops. Now see, I accidentally finished that. I could actually go through here and complete that circle, or I could have redrawn it, I suppose. Oops. Ah, that is being a fine if it wants to be like that. How bizarre. I would have thought. Oh, there we go. Okay. Remember, if I want to get back to the circle tool, okay, because what I find the easiest is just hold down the Option key, suck that up, and I automatically go back to the circle tool. Okay, so I'm going to make a real big circle that fits in here. And we'll just fit another big circle that fits in here. And another one. Something like that, eh? Alright. Don't really want to go over that edge again. Okay, so there it is. I just got to get rid of this box now that I originally drew. So remember that was, I drew it in one foul swoop, so if I just go back to putting my groups back on, then it will select the whole lot, delete it. Now I'm going to select all of that and go copy. Okay, so Command C. And now I'm going to go up to my element attributes, go to fills. I'm going to do a new symbol fill. Hopefully this works. And I'm going to call this symbol fill Z. And go OK. And then I just go paste. Cool. Check that out. I think we've got a really cool fill that we've made. Now, yeah, this will take a little while just to sort of make like a version that works in sort of a raster view. So yeah, we could just sit here and make little circles. Could take a while, couldn't it? Maybe I can speed this bit of the video up. Something like that, eh? Cool. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. Hit OK, and we've got our own fill. So I can delete those now. Quite often, actually, I'll have a layer called working. Cool, it's going to go working, and I'll hide that layer and go OK. And so then if I just go and put that onto the working layer, it disappears. If I ever need to bring it back up again, it is still there. Okay, let's go and try out our new fill. So if I grab this, I can go into here, and we should have a fill. Where is it? What did I call it? Can't remember what I called it now. Symbol fill Z. Here it is. And look at that. We've got a new custom fill. Okay, and it's pretty awesome. Bring this out. So yes, so that's how you make your own fills. Alright, let's have a look now at the building materials. Okay, so remember building materials, so if we go new, I'm going to call this Zane's material. Cool. I'm just going to do a new one. It's not based on anything, okay, so it's brand new. What is the fill going to be? Well, actually, I want symbol fill Z. Cool, here it is. What pen colors is it going to draw that in? Okay, I want it to be like, I know, dark red for the lines. The fill orientation. So this means that where the fill starts is actually on the origin. Now this is quite cool because, of course, that means that if two fills join, they'll match up. Okay, if I said either of these two, it means that the fills might not necessarily actually align correctly, which could be a good thing, because it will separate those two objects. They will look like they were two separate objects rather than the fills joining up. If it was poured concrete, of course, you'd want those fills to line up. If it was like you know, precast concrete slabs, you might not want the fills to line up so they look like they're separate items. Alright, so here we've got the material. Did we create one? Done too much in ArchiCAD of recent. I thought we made, oh that's right, we made an orange concrete, didn't we? So it should be concrete orange, or was it orange concrete? Yeah, orange concrete. Cool. Okay, so there's our custom fill and our custom material, and we give it a priority. Okay, so this is really strong stuff. It's going to be, you know, used for these great big precast concrete slabs that everything's going to bolt onto or something for fun. And okay. Alright, so now we've got our composite. Now all we need is a building material. So we haven't actually, now we have to build our composite. I always get those two confused. I think it's because it looks the wrong way around. Okay, so if we go to our composites now, so actually, well, first of all, I can actually I don't have to use a composite, okay? Because if I go into here, you'll actually notice, remember this? Okay, so this is using, if we hover over there, it'll actually tell us. That's our composite, see there? So we've got basic and we've got composite. Now if I go to basic, we should have our Zane's material here. So I could actually just draw directly with that. Okay, look, it's even got our crazy fill in there. Alright, and if I go and we'll just F4 this or F5 this. Okay, it looks grey there, but if I was to render this, we haven't really gotten to rendering yet. Looking forward to that one. Creative imaging, if I go and do a photo rendering projection, it should be an orangey colour. Yoo-hoo! Look at that. Pretty cool. Alright. Let's just close that. No, I don't want to save it. So we've created our own sort of basic material, but yes, we can go further and we could make our own composite material. So let's say that this was going to be painted on one side. So if we go to our composites and we're going to go new, I'm going to call this painted orange concrete, and go cool, and we're just going to do a brand new. That is really annoying, isn't it? So I'll just go copy, paste. Okay, so here it is. Now this is the fill and this is the material, so we can just go straight into here and choose, what do we call it, Zane's material. Okay, and now I'm going to add, I'm going to insert a skin into this. So that's our, that fill does not work very well. Oh, that's because that's pixelated fill, so I probably need to put a bit more effort into it. Notice as well that this painted orange concrete can be used for walls, slabs, roofs, and what's that one called? Shells. Okay, now we can also insert a skin, so I'm going to put another one in here. This time I'm just going to choose, what are we going to choose? I want to do some sort of paint or something like that. Let's say it had jib plasterboard. Okay, so it's got jib plasterboard, and that's going to be 6mm. Okay, and this one here is going to be 120. Alright, so we've got 120mm of this concrete, and then we've got some jib stuck on the outside. We can play around with these line types as well. So there are all sorts of different types. So you could have a wavy line in there or something for insulation. I'm just going to leave it as a solid line. Is there anything else we need to do? Oh, there's also the pen types that it uses. So maybe this line between the two, it's just going to be like sort of a dark grey. Okay, so there's a dark grey stripe now between those two. And we go OK. So now if I select this and I say it's a composite, and we've got painted orange concrete. Okay, and there we go. So that is now, if we zoom right in, you can see there is our plasterboard. Okay, so this is the outside, that's the inside, and if we can have a look now in the 3D view, it should still be sitting there actually. Just rotate this around. Cool. We've got the jib on one side and the concrete on the other. In fact, what we should really do, we could actually have a thin layer of paint on there as well if we really wanted to. Alright, is that everything? I think it is. So that's fills, surfaces, building materials, and composites. Awesome. I think next we'll look at columns and beams. Slowly work our way down the list. It would make sense, wouldn't it? Until then, see ya.